Hi, welcome to another episode of Partners in Progress. I'm Joe,
And I'm Liz.
and we are a married couple, married entrepreneurial couple, and we're both kind of in the coaching space. And we believe in iron sharpens iron, and I coach realtors and I coach specifically leaders in real estate. That's my specialty. Liz has a little bit of a different specialty.
Yeah, I help moms that are currently or have had a child go through a leukemia treatment.
Yeah. So this is gonna be interesting because I've been camping all weekend, and so this is like the first this is the first deep conversation we're gonna have since I got back, right?
So we'll see where it goes.
See where it goes. We've been talking a lot about this week about, and the last couple of weeks about fulfillment, though, and I think we get so stuck. I know I do sometimes. To be honest. I get really stuck with the achievement, right? You gotta, and it's ironic because we're both coaches and we believe both. I hope we both believe. I know we do that goals are really important, right? So you have to have something to work toward. That is the basis for the whole process of creating a compelling future. Is you have to have goals. You
Yeah.
have to have something that pulls you forward. But that being said, so many times we get stuck, we get overwhelmed by just the science of achievement, as Tony Robbins calls it, right? He says there's a science behind achievement, but there's an art behind fulfillment. Because with achievement, you do very specific things in order to achieve something, whether it's you could use specific examples. So like in order to get a certain financial outcome, you do these specific things, right? In these specific order.
Right.
If you want
Or
to
if
get
you're marketing and you want
right,
to get your name out there, you do a certain thing in a specific order. Sometimes it doesn't always work
right.
out that way,
But if you do
you
the
got a
right
general
thing,
formula.
you do the right thing
Baking a
for
cake.
enough time, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a recipe.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's a science. And it's same with like health. So if you want to improve your health, you do these certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Losing weight is not, it can be difficult, but it's not complicated.
Right. Well, yeah, I get what you mean.
Do you agree?
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is a really easy thing to do,
Right.
but it's not. Well, it's a simple thing to do, but it's
Simple.
not easy to do.
The difference between
because
simple and easy.
It's all in your mind. You're like, oh, that's totally easy, and then.
I was actually talking to one of my clients last week about that. We're talking about, I think we're talking about my morning routine because she's gonna help. She's gonna create her own morning routine because she was saying that it's something that she really needs to work on, and we all do, I think, because the morning is kind of your power hour. But we were talking about the difference between. I says not. So it's going to be something really simple. You want to start with something really simple, but simple doesn't always mean easy, right? So there's a big difference.
You should write a book with that title. Simple doesn't mean easy.
Simple doesn't mean easy. Yeah. There you go. That's a good book title. Let's see if I'll look it up, see if someone's already taken it. But so anyway, there's a science to achievement, but there's an art to fulfillment. And the difference, like I said before, the difference is that the science is these specific steps, but it's not the same. It's not that way with fulfillment because everyone's different. Fulfillment looks different for everyone.
Sure.
Do you agree?
Some people feel really fulfilled at a desk job.
Sure.
Other people hate it and they're like, I feel like I'm dying because all I'm doing is just sitting here at a desk. So yeah, I get it.
Well, and that's a good point because fulfillment, what is fulfilling for you, I was going to say can, but it's almost definitely will change over time as you grow, as you change as a person, because we all change. If um, there's one thing that's constant in the world, it's change, right?
Right.
Everything's going to be changing, right?
Death and change,
Um,
right? Or taxes and no, I
death and
don't.
taxes, I think, but I
And
think
change.
um, I like I like. There's a phrase by John Maxwell that I really like, and he said that change is inevitable, growth is
Is
optional.
optional, right?
So everything will always be changing, but are you going to take advantage of that change to fuel growth?
Or just sit stagnant.
Well, and have the environment change have the environment change you.
Yeah, sure.
Or are you going to take intentional control and make those changes in that growth yourself? Right? So I think that's the difference. Would you agree?
Yeah.
But fulfillment is different. Fulfillment, what makes you happy, what makes you fulfilled, what makes you um, feel alive, it's going to be different for every person. But we were talking about it. I think there's really three pillars to fulfillment, right?
Mm-hmm.
The specific things in your specific situation is going to be different based or on what fulfills you. But the principle, obviously, the principles are always the same.
Because it's a formula.
Somewhat,
Well,
yeah.
even art has some formulas to it, like ballet. You have to have a routine.
And if you're going to make a painting,
Yeah,
obviously,
you got to know
you're
how
not.
to do
You got to know
sketches.
how to. I mean, first you got to know how to hold the paintbrush, right? So
Yeah.
obviously, there's some science to it. There's some procedure to it, but the art itself, when when after the painter learns how to hold the brush
Mm-hmm.
and mix the colors and know what shadows and they've got all these techniques, but if they want to make something that's truly theirs, if they want to make a true masterpiece that came from their own mind and their own heart, that's the art. That's You're creating something that never existed before.
Right.
It's the same thing with fulfillment. You're creating something that never existed before. Nobody has ever had the same exact formula of fulfillment that you have, or that it's required for you.
Sure.
So I would say the first thing with the, with the art of fulfillment would just be simply alignment, right? And I know that sounds um, kind of obvious and maybe vague, but basically what I mean is be just be authentic, be you, be genuine. And I think that's more important in the world that we're living in right now than ever before. And I saw some of that kind of I'll be honest, I saw some of that kind of this weekend on my camping trip. We're all a bunch of guys just trying to, well, I did this and there's just all this measuring going on, right? and but at some point it's like just be you. And it's
You don't
I
need to
wouldn't
explain why you are the way you
right, I
are.
wouldn't say it's a lie, but I guess in a way it is a lie when you're not leaning into who you really are. You're trying to bluster and you're trying to make these things up, then you're not aligning with who you really are.
And it's
And
exhausting.
yeah, right,
You have
because
to
then you
keep
gotta
up the
gotta keep
pretense.
track. Right.
Wait, what did I tell that person? Yeah.
right. And then obviously part of being authentic is and being genuine and aligning with who you're meant to be is using the gifts that you've been given.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that our creator gave us each a set of gifts, but it's up to us. That's the funny part, right?
We got to
Maybe
figure it
that's how we
out.
know that God's got a sense of humor, because we're the ones that have to figure out what those gifts are and how to use them. He gave them to us. They're there. We just got to find them.
Yeah.
Um, but in the long run, when you use those gifts, when you employ that and you really lean into who you are as a person, then you're tapping into something deeper. That's what it means to actually tap your potential. is by being who you were meant to be. Because in the long run, the achievements you can achieve and you can achieve and you can achieve, but at the end of the day,
you're not gonna feel anything.
is that fulfilling? At the end of the
Mhm.
day, it's not what you get that matters, it's who you become.
Yeah. Well, like
And that's where growth comes into it as well.
yeah. Like when you pray for something so hard and for so long, and then God finally answers that prayer, and you're like, oh, thank you, God. So there's this other thing that I need. You don't even like spend time in it and like truly be thankful. It's like just a quick, oh, thank you, God. So now I need this too. And
Hmm.
it's like, and I struggle with that. And it's like you don't even sit in the moment and just be like, wow, look at what God did for me. Look at this amazing prayer request that I thought was like not even capable of being answered. Oh, the word for that. Like
You mean being fulfilled?
no, where it doesn't feel like it can be done. It's like impossible, the prayer request. And then
Yeah.
you're like, and God finally answers that prayer and he says yes. And you're just like, oh, yeah, I totally deserve that. Thank you, God. And
Next.
then you go to the next thing. Like, you never feel fulfilled in that moment. Well, I mean, sometimes you do, but I'm just saying when you're thinking of only yourself,
Yeah.
that's that's where you go.
So do you think in a case like that, I agree with you. I have moments like that all the time where it's like, okay,
Me
did
too.
that next. In
Yeah.
fact, I have a story about that. That was really interesting. But do you think in those moments, do you think we're looking at the answer to prayer or the answer to a request, or do you think we're looking at that as an achievement?
Yeah, like we finally got what we were asking for. We finally achieved that. And it's like, well, you didn't do anything to deserve
Well,
it. You
maybe
didn't.
you did some things.
Well,
Obviously, not to get your prayer answered, but
yeah.
maybe. And see, that's I think that fulfillment comes into that a lot too, because I think a lot of times we expect the miracle to come out of thin air. But I would say we've experienced this a lot in the last couple of years. The miracle comes from the fact that everything is so intertwined together and things
Mm,
happen at exactly the right moment. To me,
mm,
I mean, I would, I think when you really, really dig into that and you think about it, that's even more of a miracle than if something just hit you over the head, right? If something just
yeah.
appeared. The fact that
Like,
it's like all of these things are intertwined and everything was meant to happen the way it was supposed to
well,
happen. And it's
remember,
been like that since the beginning. I mean, that
yeah.
kind of blows my mind.
It's kind of hard to like wrap
Yeah.
your mind around that. Like, remember when you were really sick and it was like for like a week and a half, was it?
Hmm.
I don't remember. It was like 15 days or
Like at the
something.
beginning of the year.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
were really super sick and you
Oh
weren't
man,
able to work.
that was horrible.
And like you're the at the time you're the only income that we had
Right.
coming in, and we were just like, I don't know how we're gonna, pay our bills or whatnot. And after you started feeling better,
Hmm.
um, we look in the mailbox and there's this card,
Oh
and it
yeah.
was filled with cash,
Cash.
but there was no name on the card, nothing, no return address. We have no
No
idea,
name. No
no
return
idea.
address.
But it
Nothing.
helped us in the time when we needed it.
And I've still got that. I still got that card
Yeah.
pinned
So
up on my wall to remind me of that moment
yeah. So
because it was a
so
big
whoever
deal.
that was, if you're watching this, we really do
Thank you.
appreciate you. Yeah,
If you see this, we do appreciate you.
we do. But it's like
Um,
in that moment, we didn't feel like that was an achievement. That was true fulfillment because it's like God gave us something that we didn't even know we would have needed yet. Because I mean, they sent it. Obviously, I don't think anybody really knew how sick you were. We didn't,
yeah.
go saying anything, but you know, God spoke to that person and they helped us. It's like we're all intertwined.
And
too.
and we could have even looked at that as an achievement,
That's
right?
what I
Like,
mean.
oh,
But we
thank you.
didn't.
Put
That
that
was
in the
like,
bank.
yeah,
Moving on.
moving on, next thing.
Yeah.
But it's like it's not something we expect all the time, and it's something that we were truly grateful for.
Yeah.
And I would say, I guess it was a fulfillment because I don't know how to explain it, but
Well,
it was.
I think it's interesting because I think that ties into the next pillar.
Mm-hmm.
The next pillar would be of fulfillment, would be service,
Mm-hmm.
would be would be connecting and serving other people. Now, I have no idea who sent that. They clearly knew us. They
Clearly,
clearly know
they
what we
had
were
her
going through in
address.
some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it was because we served. I don't want to take that credit at all. But what I'm saying is when you serve other people and you put yourself in a position to serve something greater than yourself, then it will always come back to you. You know, some
Well,
people call it karma. You know, I call it God, but there is definitely something that God put in place. There is a force that that will come and bring that back to whatever wherever it came from. There's a give there. Does that make sense?
well, wasn't it C.S. Lewis that said that God gave you the prayers that you have so that he could answer them?
Right. He put the
It's
prayers in your head.
like, wait, what?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's about that connection. And when you can
And
I
how
had
do
a,
you connect to people?
how do you connect to
Yeah, you
people?
have to align with who you really are. Because if we didn't connect to people, you wouldn't have friends. You wouldn't have people
And
to
who
help
likes
you in
having
your need.
fake friends? Nobody likes
Nobody.
people that are fake. I mean,
Mm-mm.
when you have you ever seen someone that like walks in a room and everyone just like gravitates toward that person? Everyone loves that person.
Yeah.
It's always without fail, it's always someone that's comfortable with who they are. They're being authentic, they're being them, they're not trying to put on a show, but they're serving other people and they're connecting because they care. I think that's one of the big differences between people that are authentic and people that aren't is they care about people. You know, we like to try and break everything down into to science and all of these chemical impulses, right? And there's
Mm-hmm.
something to that. I'm not downplaying that, but my point is that we have this sense too. We can tell
Oh,
without
yeah.
even being able to put it into words. There is something that's just like there's something about this person. They're being really fake.
Yeah. Like
And
a
so
fake
you're right.
nice.
Being authentic, being you and aligned with your purpose is how you connect with people.
I have a funny story for that.
Okay.
You're gonna laugh because of where it comes from.
Oh no.
But this weekend, Gemma and I were watching Fancy Nancy.
Okay.
And so there's this little girl on the show named Grace, who
Okay.
none of the friends in the neighborhood like because
Right.
she's braggy. She
Oh,
always goes,
okay.
"So, do you like this new thing I got? It's new and it's great. And my parents have all this money." And so a lot of kids are like, oh, "So annoying. She's
Yeah.
braggy." And so Nancy goes over there to invite her to a party because that's the fancy thing to do.
Oh,
It's fancy Nancy.
right.
Anyway, and so she goes over there and she sees Grace playing with her animals, and she's like, "Well, I like this Grace. She's being herself. She was playing with her animals and
Ah,
being kind, and just." And then Grace sees Nancy and she starts being braggy again and like
huh.
not being authentic.
Yeah.
And Nancy's like, I like the other Grace. I like the Grace that's like real and
Mm-hmm.
nice and kind. But Grace is like, no, nobody will like me unless I have nice things or unless I do
Ah.
this. And so Grace was afraid to be herself because she didn't think the kids in the neighborhood would like
Hmm.
her. Turns out they all liked Grace being herself.
How often is that a picture? That little kid show is that a picture of how we all act as adults and we all act in real life.
I feel like we're just little kids
We're
in
just like
really
little.
big bodies.
Yeah, but you're right. Like we think, oh well, I can't do that because nobody's gonna like me. Well, why don't you try it?
Yeah. And your vibe attracts your tribe. So if somebody
Boy,
doesn't like you, oh
I
well,
heard that for the first
move
time
on.
years ago. Your vibe attracts your tribe, and I thought it was kind of weird, to be honest. Like, what do you mean? It just feels weird, but there is. We have felt that in so many ways. It's so true. When you just decide, and it's a decision.
Mhm.
When you make the decision that you're going to be the person that you were meant to be. Um, I I cannot remember who the quote is by. I want to say Brendan Burchard, but we'll say. I'll look it up later. But not Brendan Burchard. It's further back than that. Anyway, the quote goes, There's no greater privilege than to be the person that you were meant to be. To become the
Sure, it
person you
wasn't
were meant to be."
Gandhi. Just kidding. Sounds like a Gandhi.
But it's true
Yeah.
because, and that goes back to purpose. We're put here for a purpose,
At this time.
and we have free will. I
Mhm.
don't care what people say. I'm sorry, but we have free will. I believe that's one of the most sacred things that God's given us is free will. And that's why it's so beautiful when someone does fulfill their purpose, when they do reach for more, when they do dig in and decide to be the person they were meant to be, because you have a destiny. And I don't mean a fate. I mean you have a destiny and a purpose that you were prepared for, but you have a choice whether you're going to fulfill that or not. You have a choice on whether you're going to waste your life or you're going to go for it. You know, our coach, one of our high level coaches, talks about. I love this visual because it really struck me hard. And he said, if you are at the end of your life and you get to heaven, and God says, pulls you aside and says, look, you're welcome, you know,
So great to
great,
have you
so
here.
great to have you here, or happy you're here. I want to show you something. And he pulls up this video and he says, look, you're already here, you're already in heaven, but I just want to show you what your life could have been if you didn't hold back. What your life could have been if you decided to be bold, if you decided to go for it, to jump in with both feet, to burn the boats, to step into your potential, to be the person that you are meant to be. This is what that could look like. And do you want the video to be, what do you want that video to look like, right? What do you want that replay of your life to look like? Or do you want to get up there and be like, man, this guy lived it up to the full? I mean, he was always helping people. He was always out there. Or Liz was always helping these moms. Like, even if there was nothing in it for her, she was serving people. And it makes me kind of think of the parable of the harvest, right? Because you've got the people that started working at the very beginning of the day. And then you've got the people that started at the very end. They all get the same reward.
Mhm.
But the people that started at the beginning, they kind of get more of a reward because they get to see the fruit of all the labor. They get to see what the impact that they made on people. Yeah, they get the same reward for themselves,
Mhm.
right? They get to be in paradise. They still get the same payment. But it's so much deeper than that. The people that started at the beginning, and I'm not comparing here. I want to specify. I'm not comparing that. All I'm saying is the people that put in the work, they got a reward so much deeper because they got to make an impact on the people around them.
Well, that's also in the Bible
Yeah,
about when people are show off on earth, they have their reward
they have
in
the
full.
reward, right? But ultimately, I think it comes down to, do you want to leave? Do you want to just achieve for yourself, or do you want to leave an impact? Do you want to leave a legacy?
Right.
You know, um, And that's really the second part is serving others. I had a coach years and years and years ago that said, get rid of with them. And I thought, with them, what's in it for me?
Mm.
Get rid of that. Stop thinking about what's in it for me. Now, I want to specify real fast that doesn't mean you shouldn't take care of yourself. Not what it means at all. What I mean is, instead of thinking about what you can gain, think about what you can give.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about it probably 100 times on this podcast and all my other videos before, is that you have to be pouring in, right? You have to have someone filling you, and you have to be able to surround yourself with people that care, right? So that's very important. It's really important. I'm not downplaying that, because the more you have, the more you have to give. But I'm not thinking about taking care of yourself. I'm thinking about, like, what can I gain for me right now, instead of how can I serve other people and how can I make an impact in their life. There's a difference between um, influence and impact. you know they're similar, but the way, and I'm
Well,
not 100% sure, but the way I heard it from a class I was taking is that influence is width, right? You're influencing a lot of people. Impact is deep.
well,
That's where
when
you
you,
really, really impact someone on a deep level.
I feel like influence means like people want to do what you're doing because you're influencing them to do that,
Yeah.
right? Impact is you made them feel something.
Well, and are you ever going to be able to truly influence someone? Are you ever going to be able to truly impact and get someone to take action? Not get someone to do something, but to take action in their own life. I don't want you to do what I tell you to do. I want you to do what's right for you.
Yeah.
I want you to do what you, most of the time, that you already should be doing, right?
Right.
Or that another quote from our coach Dean. He says that commitment, or it's not that you need more motivation, it's that you need to honor the commitments that you already made to yourself.
Yeah.
So impact, like you said, impact. And how do you really have an impact on someone if you're not making them feel, if you're not making them changing
It's
those
like it's just
emotions?
like, oh, that looks cool. I should try that. And then you try it and you don't feel anything. Oh, next influencer, just like doom scroll influencers.
Right.
But then when someone makes you feel something, you're gonna follow them and keep on
And
watching
where
them.
does that and where does that feeling, where does that emotion come from? I mean, obviously it comes from you,
I'm like inside,
but I
like,
mean, what is the reason that you're feeling that impact? Most of the times, because they're being genuine,
oh yeah.
they're being real,
I was like, which answer do
right?
you want?
That's the reason that, well, I don't want an answer.
There's a right answer.
No, there's not a right answer. What I'm saying is that we live in an overproduced world.
Yeah.
There is a
Well, there's
good,
movies that you watch, you're like, this is crazy. It looks too perfect.
and there, yeah, absolutely. And that there's a reason that people are getting bored of movies and they're sitting there and doom scrolling.
Yeah, you
Now, you can
pay
get,
money to go to the
that
theater
can
and
be,
people are
yeah,
just,
obviously that can be destructive if it's not handled.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is, we're dying for genuine connection. We're dying for the real, right? That's why in some cases, and it depends on the situation, but in some cases, overproducing your videos on social media especially, can actually harm your views and your ratings or whatever, because then people are like, oh, it's just like some big production, I don't want to watch that. They want to
Yeah.
watch real.
Well, one of my favorite, I don't know if I guess she's an influencer.
Uh-huh.
She does cooking, but it's like
Okay.
vegan and she uses a lot of like
Yeah.
good ingredients. She's crazy. But she just does it in her living or in her kitchen and she's herself. And I
Yeah.
love watching them.
Yeah, because she's her. She's just her.
She's just her, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. We talked about the two pillars. So You got to be genuine. We keep coming back to that one. Maybe we should just call this one "Be Genuine."
Okay.
Anyway, that's part of being fulfilled, though. That's a huge part of fulfillment is just
Be who God created you
be
to
who
be.
you were created to be.
Hmm.
And then serve other people. Find the gifts that you've got and use that to find a way to serve other people. That's what we've done. I think, to be honest, I think for many years we ran from our gifts that we now can see were there all along, but they're scary to use, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but that we're leaning into who we were meant to be, and especially as coaches and being able to help other people, it feels amazing to help other people. Half the time, I don't even care if I get paid. I mean, I want to get paid because I got a family,
Yeah.
but the act of helping someone else, the act of that breakthrough moment is, I feel like I can hear music in my head. It is just one of the greatest things to see that epiphany moment in someone's eyes, like, oh, it's like, I don't know. That's fulfillment for me. To me, that's true fulfillment, is being able to facilitate, being able to guide someone to that breakthrough and just see that in their eyes. It's like I could do that all day long, every day. And that's my version of fulfillment. It's going to be different for everyone. But then the third, and that leads right into the third pillar. The third pillar, and one that encompasses everything, is the meaning you give to things. Because and I guess it goes back to choice. You will make the choice on what things mean. Life doesn't have any meaning except for the meaning that you give it.
Right.
So, like, for example, like, I've used this one before, but when Kaylin first got diagnosed, our son first got diagnosed with cancer, he was in the hospital for for 14 days straight. But for the first 2 or 3 days, he was basically just bedridden. He couldn't move. And at one point, the doctor said that we needed to get him up, or he's going to start getting bed sores. And he was swelling; his legs were swelling up, and it was pretty rough. But on that third day, I helped him get out of bed, swing his legs over, and he got up and he stood for the first time in 3 days. And there's multiple meanings I could have pulled from that. I could have thought, it's not fair. My 8-year-old son has been bedridden for 3 days. This isn't fair.
Yeah, the bouncy Kaylin that was
right.
like never sit down.
I could have thought that, but I chose, and I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying, in that moment, I chose to focus, and I chose to place meaning on the fact that he was standing, he was walking for the first time in 3 days, and that made me feel alive. Because at that point, I put the meaning that he was going to make it, that he was going to keep pushing through. And I knew he was a warrior. Both of his names mean warrior.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, God.
So, but it's all about the meaning you put to it. Right? We have all of these things happening around us all of the time. But what we choose to focus on, the meaning we choose to give it, is how we're going to see the world. You experience the world that you focus on. You experience it based on the meaning that you give that situation.
And there's two sides to every story.
Yeah. What was your side to the story?
To him standing up?
Yeah.
Same. I don't think I felt it the same as you did on that one.
Yeah.
My hope moment was, I think, on day 2, when I was staying with him, and his oxygen like just dropped, and all the beeping and the chaos, and we had doctors flying in the room, and it was at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out. They brought a sorry, I was gonna say a bad word. Not a bad word, but they brought this huge X-ray machine into his room so they could X-ray his lungs. But anyway, the doctor goes up to him and he's like, Kaylin, you okay? He goes, yeah. Are you okay? And I'm like, okay, he's okay. Like, he's
Yeah,
gonna be okay. I don't know.
because he had his personality back.
He's still, yeah. It was great. The doctor was just like, well, you look fine. You sound fine, but your monitor says you're not fine.
Right.
So,
So you could have chose to focus on the monitor
mhm.
and pulled so much meaning from that, right?
Yeah.
But instead you chose to look at him and use that as your meaning.
And he was, obviously, he was fine.
Yeah.
But it, like,
You
so
can do
that was
that.
my hope moment.
You can do that a lot of times with the tone of voice with people too.
Mhm.
You know, and that's why communication is so important and knowing how to effectively communicate um, because only 11% of communication between humans is verbal, is the actual words, the language that comes from our mind or from our mouth,
Mhm.
from our mind. And then about 30 something percent is tone, and over 50% of communication is body language, right? So sometimes you can misinterpret tone or body language, and then you can give a meaning to that maybe wasn't even there, but you
Our
choose
kids
to
do that
believe it,
all the time
right?
to me.
You choose to believe that, right? You could
Yeah.
think, well, that person was really, pissed off at me, and maybe you can go days thinking that, and maybe what happened is they just, stubbed their toe or something. They were just kind of annoyed for 2 minutes,
And you
but
just
you just
happen to
happened to
talk to
be
them.
there, and so
Yeah.
you're packing all of this meaning into a situation that maybe wasn't wasn't even there because you're inferring the meaning onto it.
Yeah. Making it about you.
Full circle,
Yeah.
right? What's in it for me,
Yeah.
right? So I would say, you have anything to add to that? I would say that those, we talked about it a little bit, but those are the pillars. You have
Mm.
to be you and
Like a
to,
triad.
to have to have any hope of fulfillment, you have to lean into who you are. You can't try to be someone else. You can't
Right.
try to fake it. You can't. There's no fulfillment in that. It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. You have to find something greater than you to serve. The the there are people out there. There are people that make hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. It has nothing to do with the money. Nothing. I don't have $1 billion, but I know of people, and I've known people personally that are multimillionaires that have all this money and they are not fulfilled. They're not happy. It's not the money.
Mm-mm.
It's not the achievement. They chose to put a certain meaning to it, or they chose to be, what's in it for me, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they get a bunch of success, maybe, or money, if you want to call it that. Maybe they have a lot of financial success, but in the long run, they don't have fulfillment.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're not serving something greater than themselves. They haven't found a way to serve other people. They just found a way to meet their own needs.
Well, have you ever met someone that was wealthy and had a family that wasn't happy?
Yes.
Oh.
That was wealthy.
Yeah, but they had a family. They had a purpose. They were taking care of their family.
Oh, I thought you said that, and their family wasn't happy.
No, the person that was taking care.
Oh, I've known families that were very, very wealthy, and they were all miserable.
Mm.
I think what you're
I
saying
was
though is,
trying to see if the family was a higher purpose, but it didn't
well,
work
it
out
depends on
that
what.
way.
Well, yeah, but that depends. Is everyone in the family focusing in on what's in it for me? Is all the individuals in the family? I mean, you got a good point though, because you could have a whole group, you could have a family, or maybe you have a team in your business or whatever. And if they're all trying to serve each other, then there is massive fulfillment there. Because they're all working together.
That's how I feel like our team was in with our other company.
Yeah. Yeah, we did have a very good team. We'll build another one. We have we have some pretty good team dynamics in our house.
It's true.
We
Let's
I mean,
hire our kids.
have our
It's fine.
moments, but obviously we have some pretty good dynamics here. Um, but you can, but when you're only focused on you, when you're only focused on what you can gain from it, again, not self care, but what you can gain from this, it becomes at that moment it ceases to be a relationship and it becomes a transaction. And you can't find fulfillment in transactions. You can't. The fulfillment is all in the relationships.
Yeah. True.
Um,
Who feels fulfilled after they buy like something they really want, like a bigger TV or whatever? Like, sweet, I bought a bigger TV.
they just feel
They're happy for a couple of
yeah.
like hours.
They just feel
watching it,
excited
and they're
for a
like,
little
ah,
bit. That's not fulfillment.
next.
You can excitement is important, but
Yeah.
it's not fulfillment.
Right.
Right? It's a deeper level. Excitement is important, but fulfillment is on a so
I'm
much
just saying
deeper level.
it's a thing.
What?
I was just saying it's a thing. They're not. You don't get
Right.
fulfilled when you buy a thing. So don't
But
treat people like they're.
we're gonna go along, but I like
Sorry.
where well no I like where you're going with this because I like the idea, the example of the TV. Okay, so you could if you got let's say we got a brand new TV, right? And we stuck it in our bedroom and it was just for me, it was just for you. Or even better, you and I each get our own TV, right? I got one on my side, you got one on your side of the
Don't look
room.
at my TV.
This is my TV, I got to watch my show. This is your TV, you get to watch your show. How connected and fulfilled would we feel? But what if we got on
We're still in the same room though. It's fine.
right? But what if we got a TV, a new TV, and we stuck it up in our living room, and we had something for the whole family to enjoy,
Yeah.
right? Now, I'm not advocating that everyone just plugs into the
watching.
TV all the time, but my point is that when you're enjoying something together, that's on a whole different level.
You're putting a different meaning to it.
And look at like sports games, football, basketball, whatever.
How boring is it to watch it by yourself?
Well, I mean, there's some people that really get into it, but 99% of the time, people want to have someone over to watch the game with them, right? I mean, how fun is it to watch the game together? I'm not even into sports that much anymore, but I love watching games with people because it's fun.
You feed off each other's excitement.
Yeah, you have this exactly. You're kind of like catching each other's energy, right? You have this shared goal.
Yeah.
And it's fun because you're working towards something together, and you're bringing meaning to it, right? So then you have the meaning of a shared connection. But I like the TV example because that is a classic example of, am I doing this just for me, or am I doing it for a group? And what is the meaning behind what I'm doing, right? So something as simple as a TV could be something that could suck out your soul, or it could be something that becomes really fulfilling depending on the meaning you give to it and if you share it with others, right? So anything else to add to that?
No, sorry. I made it go long.
No, that's okay. I thought we touched on some really good points, but in closing, just be you. I know that sounds so simple. When I talk to my clients about, I have a framework that I use in my coaching. And one of the things we talk about is authentic alignment. And it just means, it sounds so crazy simple to just be you. Like, can you really be anyone else? But there is no greater privilege than to become the person that you are meant to be. If you don't have some kind of higher purpose other than serving yourself, find it, because that's what's going to bring fulfillment. When you're contributing to others, one last story. A while back, me and our kids, I'm still talking to you, but I can't remember where you were, but it was me and the three little ones, I think. We made up some bags for the homeless
Oh,
and we went and gave them out. And I have never seen my daughter just glow like that before because she was contributing to other people.
she has a heart for that.
She was she was transcending her own self. She was giving to those, yes, giving to those in need, but serving a higher purpose. And it was really special to see that. And then the meaning that you give is is how you live your life. Your experience in life is going to be based on the meaning that you give it. So fulfillment is an art. And if you work on those three, then you're going to get so much closer to fulfillment than just trying to chase the almighty dollar or get that next
Or
promotion.
just be happy, because that's what everybody, like, you
Sometimes
watch movies
happiness
and
is
it's like, I just want you to be happy, and it's like, well, what is happiness?
happiness is fleeting, I believe, but fulfillment is lasting.
I agree, because your mood can change. You can be happy one minute, sad the next.
But if you choose to live in that state of fulfillment, it doesn't matter what happens to you, right? You can make up your own meaning.
Mm-hmm. Sky is the limit.
Yep. All right. Till next time.